No, you can't. Now you should hear me. Let me know, guys, if you can hear me okay. We're having a bit of technical difficulties on. Let's turn this music down just a little bit. Let's get it. Still a bit loud, isn't it? Seems a bit better. There we go. What is good, everybody? How are you doing? Come say hello this morning. Like I said, you know, it's the first time we're actually doing something like this, so I'm not expecting big numbers anytime soon. However, just exploring the idea behind, you know, live streaming every morning and just starting the live together on a good foot and starting the week together. So just making sure that we're all being positive this morning. We're all making sure that we're being a better version of ourselves, and we're all starting the week correctly. So I'm just gonna make sure. Testing. Okay, I'm on the wrong microphone. Okay, cool. Let me just move over. Right. Right. So, for those of you who are wondering what this is all about, I was inspired by a creator on Instagram. His name is Elliot Wise. He basically promotes being a gentleman, being a good father, good husband, and stuff like that. It's not quite me. Obviously, I'm a bit younger. He's in his 30s. However, I've taken a lot of what he sort of represents, you know, and it kind of resonates a lot with me. So I thought, you know what? I rate the fact that he has something similar to this, where every day at 7 a.m. every Monday at 7 a.m. he sort of starts the week with his gang, with his crew, and I thought to myself, you know what, I kind of rate that. I want to do something like that, where I can jump on every Monday and we all start the day right, or start the week off correctly at the Apex Brotherhood. So that's what we're gonna do. You know, that's what we're going to do. So today is an opportunity for us just to chat. It's going to be a little bit more scripted. Today isn't. Today's one of those days where I'm going to come on, chat with you guys, and just see how it goes. See what the vibe is like. See if you guys are enjoying it. I am going to start bringing some topics to the table, and where we can actually start discussing things together. So I think that's going to be a good idea. I do apologize as well if it looks like I'm looking down. My camera is up here. I haven't adjusted it today, ready for today's stream, but I'll be adjusting it a little bit later on. So as you guys know, you know, we are the Apex Brotherhood. We are traders predominantly. My co-founder Ewan, my brother, hence Apex Brotherhood with two brothers. He is a personal trainer, and yes, he is not a trader. Yes, he is a gym guy. He talks about fitness, lifestyle, being healthy, and basically making sure your body is being the most optimal version of itself. So we're not just traders here at Apex Brotherhood. We're not just men, hence the Brotherhood. It is an opportunity for us to be better every single day. So I'm a motivational speaker. I travel all around the world talking about lifestyle, mentality, mindset, psychology, and yes, of course, trading. So everyone who is in the group at the moment, yes, they're probably predominantly traders. However, I think today's going to be a good opportunity to be a bit more than that, you know, and to understand that we're all, you know, human, and we're all trying to be better versions of ourselves. Because yes, if you're being a better version of yourself, you're also going to be a better trader through default. So that's what today is going to be a sort of an introduction of. So we'll have a bit of a catch up, and what I want to do is a bit like Elliot does. He sort of brings you guys in as well, so he sort of gets chat involved, and I want to do something like that. You know, in the Brotherhood Discord, you guys who are already in the Discord know we have got a section called Quote of the Day. Let me just bring it up. So yeah, daily quotes, and every single day, you know, you can post in there your favorite daily quote. or, you know, what you can just do is read and take some inspiration. So what I'm going to do is read at the end of every week, at the end of every Monday, I am going to read some of the quotes that have been dropped in from you guys in the Discord. If you do want to get involved in the Discord, the link should be in the description below. So go ahead and get yourself over into the Discord, or where am I? There we go. This is a new thing I've tried. It's a QR. It obviously is a QR code, as you can see, with the little with the phoenix in the middle, representing regrowth and new beginnings. So feel free to try and scan that. I don't know if it's going to work. So you can give it a go. But what I want to be doing is getting you guys involved, and, you know, not necessarily just being a broadcast where you guys listen to me lecture on, because that's not what this is. It's an opportunity for, you know, me to chat with you guys about some topics, some experiences that maybe I've gone through, I've learned, or maybe just trying to find a way to inspire you and help you become more disciplined, because that's the whole goal at the end of the day. And, you know, that's why I feel like me and my brother not necessarily have mastered, but are certainly on that journey of success discovery, should we call it. So I'm gonna have a bit of a catch up with chat. Let's see who is in chat this morning. We've got Sigma FX Trading. Good to be in the boardroom. Let's call this meeting to order. Morning all. What is good, Sigma FX? Good to see you in, brother. So as you guys may not know, Sigma FX Scott is our trader who comes on the live stream every Thursday. And then he comes on every now and then in between those days. But you will see him every single Friday jumping on live stream, talking about his trading, talking about his growth on his small personal account, which again takes a fantastic mindset and takes a lot of discipline, and making sure that he is sticking to his plans and to his rules. So again, you know, we're all in from different paths. We're all in from different areas and walks of life, different ages. You know, I'm 24, I'm 25 this year. I'm not out here pretending that I'm better than you guys. I'm not out here saying that, you know, you've got to listen to me. I'm out here saying, look, I'm also on a journey of becoming a better version of myself. So that's what I'm out here doing. Yeah, I'm trying to share the idea of being better. And guys, of course, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. So make sure you go ahead, absolutely smash that like button, and make sure that you do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We've got about 155 subscribers, which is super cool. We're hoping to add a few more zeros on the end of that, I think. So make sure that you're going to absolutely smash that like button, guys. Make sure you share this content as well. It does mean a lot to not only myself, but it means a lot to the guys in the Discord as well, because they're also trying to build a bigger community. Sigma, the mic has kicked in now. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, dude. I don't know what happened there. But yeah, really strange. Like I said, you know, technical difficulties on a Monday morning. I'm glad that I'm doing it on a Monday morning, not letting all the boys, you know, just free for all on the technology in the background. Because Monday, you know, nothing ever seems to work on a Monday. But there we go. Unbiased Trader, morning. Good morning, Unbiased Trader. How you doing, my man? Hope you're all good. Hope you're enjoying the start to the week. You know, like I said, a lot of people come in, and even if you're watching this and it's not live, even if you're watching this pre-recorded, because, you know, it does record and then it posts as a video. So make sure you drop in the comments to say good morning. Drop in the comments and put your favorite quote, and I'll be trying to read them out next week or something. However, like I said, you know, I am going to be reading out a couple of the quotes that the guys like to post in the Discord. So it's super cool to be spending the morning with you guys. You know, it's 7 a.m. I don't know if you can see that okay. It's, well, 12 minutes past 7 in the morning, UK time. For those of you who aren't in the UK right now, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, or potentially good night. I doubt it's good night anyway right now, but good morning, good evening, good afternoon, all those good time frames. Just seeing Unbiased Trader coming out. It hasn't quite loaded on my screen. There we go. Tried my first Bitcoin weekend trade. Not a good idea, dude. That's super unfortunate, man. That's super unfortunate. But just the best thing I can say to you is make sure that you're going to try and, give it a little bit of space, give it a little bit of headroom, and understand what it means to you. So make sure that you're giving it the respect it deserves. All ideas are good ideas, even if they're bad ideas, and you've got to make sure that you're going to learn that lesson from it. Make sure that you're going to learn, take that, journal it, understand how it made you feel, understand what it did for you, how you were affected by it. And I'm a big fan of journaling. You've got to journal, and it sounds super boring. Not a lot of people like to do that sort of stuff. It's teenage girl dear diary sort of stuff, but I'll tell you what, you'll be super surprised and shocked on what it actually does, and how it will affect you. But unbiased trader, man, that's super unlucky. Bitcoin has been one of those things. I'm not big into Bitcoin. I don't really like crypto. I am, like, as you guys know, those of you who are already following me, those of you who are potentially new to this channel, I am a full-time trader. I trade live every single day over at the Fivers, who are a prop firm, Fivers Funding. So yes, I'm a trader and I understand how the markets work. Bitcoin, one of those that I just stay away from. I'll be honest. There's a couple of the guys in the Fivers community who I trade with, who are fantastic Bitcoin traders. However, there's just something about crypto makes me uneasy. Maybe I'll start looking at buying and holding, but when it comes to leverage trading, I couldn't do something like that. It scares me too much. Too unpredictable. Speaking about unpredictabilities, guys, holy moly, what's going on? Trump at the moment, he's doing a whole lot of something, and I think he's causing a lot of fear at the moment in the markets, and not just in the markets, but just in general. I was speaking to my family the other day, and they were just like, he's a lunatic, what's he doing? And I think there's so much uncertainty at the moment where people are questioning the future, and people are questioning what's going to be happening over the next few weeks, few months, few years. And the best thing to do is, look, if you're involved in politics, I'm sure it's going to be a scary time for most people, but unless there's going to be something that's going to directly affect us, like there's going to be something out there, something's going to be broadcasted, and that's going to directly affect it, it's best just to not worry about it. And I'm not saying bury your head in the sand. It's always good to keep your ear to the wall, keep your ear to the door, whatever they say. Make sure that you're understanding what's going on, because it's good to understand what's going on in the world. However, do take it with a pinch of salt. Politicians, notorious for lying. We all know that. Media, propaganda. It's all not necessarily fabricated, but it's all going to be, to a certain degree, weighted in a certain direction of the ones posting it. Like they say, the history is written by the victors, and that sort of sits heavy with me. That lives with me, because it's a way of understanding that it's not necessarily an even or unbiased sort of outlook on what's happening. I'm sure if you went to Russia, the likes of North Korea, if you went to China, and I'm sure if you went to Iran, the media would be completely different on what is posted completely compared to what's posted in the West, in America, in the UK, in Europe. So just take what happens on the media with a pinch of salt. When it comes to my news, when it comes to my trading, I don't watch the news. Like, I won't go and watch BBC News or anything like that. I'm not into that. It's too depressing for me. It turned me into a pessimist. I found more happiness in my life now, being able to actually walk away from the news and say, I'm not watching it. So because I don't watch it, I found myself being a lot happier. Yes, I miss certain things, but truth be told, there's certain things that aren't really going to affect my life. And you got to start asking yourself in life now. I've started realizing, even at 24, life is short. Life is short, and that's a weird thing to hear, and it's a weird thing to say at the age of 24, because we have got a long life. Let's be honest, we have got a long life, but life is too short to be listening to things that are going to negatively affect us. Now, I was listening to a podcast yesterday afternoon while I was doing some work at the computer, and it was talking about self-talk positive affirmations, and it was talking about the realism of manifestation, and they were talking about how sort of manifestation is glittered and how would we like marketed potentially into being something it's not. And I think a lot of people would look at manifestation and say it's basically saying if you think it, it'll come true, and you'll sit there and think, I am a millionaire, I will become a millionaire, and then in 10 years time you're still not a millionaire. And that's pretty much manifestation and how it's been portrayed. And I think that's why a lot of people will look at manifestation and be like, absolute garbage. I hate manifestation doesn't work. It's a pile of doohickey. Anyone who manifests is full of rubbish. And it got me thinking. I was like, this isn't necessarily true, because I'm a big believer in manifestation. I love manifestation. I do it on the daily. Especially when it comes to my self-talk. However, this podcast last night, or yesterday afternoon, it really sort of opened my eyes to the true interpretation of what manifestation should be broadcasted as, and it should be portrayed as. And I thought to myself, this is really interesting, because I resonate with this a lot, and I can't remember for the life of me what this lady's name was. Maybe I'll drop it in the comments below if I can, maybe after the broadcast, after the stream. However, I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to see what her opinion is, and I'm going to see what her thoughts on manifestation was. And you know what? She said manifestation is a fantastic thing because it helps people understand what is actually going on in the world when it comes to what they see. And I thought to myself, this doesn't make any sense. How can it be what's going on in the world with what they see? And they said manifestation is who they are. And I thought, how can manifestation be who they are? And I started thinking, like, the way she was describing it started confusing me a little bit. And I started thinking, right, okay, let me think about this. And what she actually was talking about is you become who you think you are because you're positive and negative self-talk. And I thought, that's really interesting. So how am I going to become who I manifest? And she started talking about in this podcast how she wants to become the person she will be. She wants to become now who the person she will be in the future. And hold on to me here. And I thought to myself, right, okay, well, what does that look like? Who do I want to become? And she said, instead of thinking 10 years ahead, because you can get swamped, you want the bridge. And I thought, okay, maybe that's where it is. And she said, the bridge between who you are now and who you want to become is what you should be manifesting. Like it's all. And she used the what's it called, the mind board, or the future board, vision board. There we go. Boom. So she talked about this vision board, and she said, look, we can all put, it doesn't matter what your dreams are, whether it's to buy a place in the Bahamas or, become financially free. Maybe we're trading to get your dream body, maybe to have a six-pack and, a big chest and big arms, or potentially even to have a Lamborghini, or whatever's on your vision board, whatever your 10-year plan is. It's great to imagine that, but you need to bridge it with something, because who you are here and who you will be in 10 years' time is a massive step and a monstrous difference. And people will look at a vision board and it's almost like they get swamped under the idea of what they will be. And it's off-putting and that's where a lot of manifestation falls apart, is where they're able to look from A to Z, where they are now to where they want to be. And instead of being motivated, they go, that would be super cool. Yeah, one day, this is amazing. But the actual thought of how to do it just swamps them. And in subconscious, what they're doing is negative self-talk through through manifestation. And that's why manifestation doesn't work for so many people, is because they don't understand how to use it, and they don't understand that they're actually using it wrong, because what they're actually doing is scaring themselves away from a dream. If I said to you, you want to get yourself a Lamborghini, cool, okay, let's use the Lamborghini. Or no, let's say you want to buy your first house. I feel like it's the most significant, and it means a lot more to most people. So let's go with buying your first property, buying your first house, whether it's to live in, build a family in, or whether it's to use as an investment vessel. So you want to buy your first house. Right now, you're flat broke. Maybe you're living in a small apartment. There's no food in the fridge, etc. You're flat broke and you're struggling. Then you go and you find your dream house, and let's say it's 1.2 million GBP or US dollars. Let's go with global international currency. It is 1.2 million dollars, and you think to yourself, I got $1,000 in the bank. How am I supposed to afford this $1.2 million luxury villa, luxury house? And you're thinking, okay, cool, that's on my vision board. Boom, that's what I want it to look like. That's the house I want. How, this is amazing. And then you start getting motivated, and you're like, yeah, one day, maybe one day. And then you actually think about how. And you're thinking, how could I afford that? Okay, let me see what the payments would be like. And then you need to put like $500,000 down. And then you want to mortgage like 700K. Or maybe you put like, 200-300 grand down. You're like, well, how am I going to get 200-300 grand? And then even if you find that money, trying to actually do something with that, trying to actually afford the payments, for the rest of the mortgage, you're getting swamped, because it's not who you are now, it's who you could be in 10, 20 years time. What you want to try and do is find who you're going to be in the bridge of that. How are you going to get to that situation? Who can you be tomorrow? And this is where manifestation gets interesting. This is what you can be doing, is start understanding, right, okay, who do I need to be to become the person I want to be in 10 years' time? What does the person in 10 years' time act like? Who are they as a personality? What do they do? Who do they hang around with? What are their daily habits? How would they speak to themselves? And this is really important. Coming back from Hong Kong was, it was fantastic, because I learned a lot out there. And instead of asking yourself, how am I going to afford it? Ask yourself who is going to afford it. And just asking yourself a simple question like that is really going to change how what your perspective is in life. Because what you're able to do is change your shift your mindset, change your outlook on who you are. And subconsciously through that, you're actually going to start attracting things. And again, this lady in the podcast, it's really frustrating me that I cannot remember her name or her podcast, but she had a book as well. But she actually goes into talking about the law of attractions, which again is a completely different book in itself. Haven't read it yet, really want to read it. I'm currently reading The Psychology of Money. You can just see it. You can't quite see it on my bookshelf. Bookshelf is up here. So I'm reading Psychology of Money at the moment. Fantastic book, really helps change your perspective on the relationship with money. Now, anyway, however, law of attractions, I've heard of a lot of positivity around, and law of attractions is one of those books where it helps you understand your mindset shift, and you're able to actually understand what it means to be a better person, should we say. And she talks about that sort of law of attractions. When you end up changing your mindset to who you want to be, and who the person who could afford that $1.2 million property, who the person is who would buy that property, you start understanding that, okay, you need to shift your mindset from potentially someone who's not necessarily happy, but someone who's living in your small apartment with no food in the fridge, and you're paying bills just about, or you're living paycheck to paycheck. You've got the mindset of that person right now. Potentially you're going out to the pub, potentially you're going, maybe you are having good affirmations. Maybe you are having a a good, healthy, balanced lifestyle. Maybe you're going to the gym. Maybe you're going out socializing with friends on the weekends. But potentially you're also, looking at yourself in the evening, looking at yourself in the mirror and telling yourself that you're not good enough. And that's where it also begins, is through self-talk. And once you start understanding, potentially instead of going to the pub, go to a nice hotel, go to a lobby. And I know this sounds corny. I've seen it on social media too many times, where people have said, go to a lobby, go to a 5-star lobby and go sit there and hang out and listen to the conversation. Yeah, it's corny, I'll be honest. However, it does work. When I was in Hong Kong, I'd go to the rooftop bars. I'd hang out with people who earn a lot of money, and it's not, even if you don't hear their conversation, I'm not saying go up to them and sort of like put your ear into their circle and sort of listen to what they're saying. I'm not saying that, but what I am talking about is it helps you move different. And it's almost difficult to explain, but it does help you move different. And what I mean by that is, you go to a location, you go to an area where the people are different. So I go to a 5-star hotel with my family now, instead of going to a bar, instead of going to a pub. I won't go to a pub now, and I'm not saying that I'm better than anybody. I opened my water to take a sip and I haven't sipped it yet. Got to stay hydrated, guys. But anyway, like I was saying, it's not necessarily about thinking you're better than people, and it's not about putting that mindset on you, because it's very difficult to find your happy medium between you're not who you want to be better, and then actually subconsciously trying to force yourself to think you're better than everybody. And I think that's what most people do, and that's where the lack of being humble comes in. And you got to remember, like, you're not better than anybody. Everybody's the exact same. We've all come from, different beginnings. We've all got different outcomes. We've all got different lifestyles. Be humble and be kind to everybody. However, the aura, the atmosphere at a pub, certainly on a weekend, Friday, Saturday night, Sunday's a little bit different, but Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, the pub atmosphere it shifts. It's different, even in the weekdays. But anyway, you go to a bar, you go to a pub, and you end up going and listening to people talk, and you start thinking, you surround yourself with that vibe, that atmosphere, and it's good. The vibe's great. Good. There's a good giggle going on. There's a good laugh. And then you go to a 5-star restaurant, or you go to a 5-star bar or a hotel or whatever. You go to somewhere a little bit more upmarket, somewhere where you think that if you're wearing jogging trousers, you're going to get a couple of looks, a couple of weird looks, weird stares. I'm not saying go here every day, because the prices usually reflect that as well. They're usually a bit more expensive. And instead of going to a bar and ordering a pint of Guinness, I love a pint of Guinness, I'll be honest with you. But instead of going to a bar and ordering a beer, ordering a pint of whatever you're drinking, instead go to a restaurant, go to a hotel lobby, go to a 5-star bar, and just order yourself a coffee. I can guarantee a coffee at a 5-star hotel is going to cost you less than a beer at a pub, on average. Okay, unless you're going to some like absolute crazy place that's ridiculously expensive. I'm not recommending that whatsoever, because then you're going to get a different clientele in general. But definitely go to a place where it's a little bit more upmarket, somewhere where you got to put a pair of shoes on, somewhere where you got to put a pair of trousers on, or a nice t-shirt or a polo shirt or even a shirt. Go somewhere where you've got to dress up a little bit to prevent yourself getting stared at. Or maybe go somewhere where you got to put something nice on, and watch how the staff treat you. And without realizing, your subconscious will instantly want that respect. It'll instantly, you'll see how the staff treat you. Instead of, snorting while pulling a pint, or instead of, just having that sort of relaxed attitude while pouring a pint. Instead, you call sir, madam. Instead, they're putting a napkin with it, or instead they're serving it with a smile or a different attitude because it's a bit more upscale, and it's subconscious positivity. So what you're able to do, you go there and you're listening to these people and you're talking to the staff, and the staff are upscaled, they're updressed, and you're there, you're sitting there in, it could be your nicest gear, it could be your nicest outfit. It doesn't matter whether it's your nicest outfit or whether it's something just rather a bit more chill, a bit more casual. I'll go in a nice sort of quarter zip jumper, quarter button jumper, and I wear a pair of black trousers most of the day anyway, so I'm wearing black suit trousers now. But point being is, I now dress as if I'm ready to fit into the nicest rooftop bar, because I can go to a pub and I'll get weird looks. People are like, oh, you're overdressed. But I'd rather get weird looks, and I'd rather people say to me, oh, you're overdressed, than you need to put something nice on, or sorry, you can't come into this establishment. I remember I was out in Rome with my brother, Ewan, the co-founder of Apex Brotherhood, and we got to this bar. And me and Ewan said to each other, we were like, should we go somewhere, have a quick drink, go somewhere nice? And he was like, yeah, sure, let's go. And we were shattered. We were like, we just got to Rome. We were in jogging trousers and some trainers, and we went to this really nice bar overlooking the Colosseum, and we got some weird looks, like really weird looks. People, like, the staff wouldn't treat us as nice. They'd still be nice because look, they're paid to be staff. They're paid to be hospitable. However, they'd look at you like, oh, okay, come on in, yeah, okay, yeah. Would you like the drinks menu? It would be that sort of, can you really afford this? And it would be that sort of attitude where people would judge you instantly. People instantly judge you, but I'd rather people judge me and think, wow, he's overdressed, or wow, he looks smart, instead of, oh, can he afford to be here? Even if you can't afford to be there, look like you can. Because subconsciously, how that makes you feel will portray your attitude. You will hold yourself differently. And this is the magic in actually going to a nicer establishment. This is the magic in going to a nice 5-star hotel lobby, or 5-star restaurant, 5-star bar, whatever it may be. Go have a coffee, go have a drink, and you will feel, and this sounds bad, you'll feel better than everyone at the pub. And I'm not saying you are, because you're not. You're not better than everyone at the pub. You've just decided to make a change in your life. But through law of attraction, you hang out in an establishment, and instead of having 5 beers on a Friday night, you have 2 coffees throughout the week at this 5-star establishment. And, you'll save yourself a little bit of money. You won't wake up with a headache in the morning. Depends how much you drink. I'd probably wake up with a headache in the morning after 5 beers. Certainly nowadays, anyway. So, you're going to wake up with a good, clear head in the morning. You're going to have a coffee. Maybe you have a beer. It doesn't matter. You can still go out and have a beer. You can go out and have a wine, maybe. Who knows? It depends how much you want to upscale yourself. But go to a 5-star establishment, and you'll notice after a month of going there, don't go out there and splash about and think that you're the $1 billion baby. Don't go out and do that. You're going to waste a lot of money, and no one's really going to care. Because there's 2 different styles of people. There's the people that go and splash all their cash at a pub, and then you get the upscaled people who will go and splash their cash at a 5-star establishment. So money is still blown, whether you have it or whether you don't. So be smart about it. But understand, absorb the atmosphere, absorb everything that goes on in these establishments. Go to a 5-star establishment and start asking yourself, who's here? Start looking around. How are people dressed? How do people walk? How do people talk? Are they shouting at each other? Are they pushing each other, slapping each other on the back? Ha, 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 spilling drinks. If someone drops a glass and it smashes, does everyone shout, "Way"? No, they move quiet. They move with respect. And once you start understanding you can be that person, whether you have money or not, you start getting treated differently. Yes, okay, your friends may say, oh, you've changed, you're different. Why don't you come out and get absolutely rat-assed with us? Why don't you get steaming with us on a weekend now? Because you're moving different now. And people don't like to see that. But I can promise you, by moving different, even in your job, even if you're a laborer, that's absolutely fine. I've got so much respect for these laborers. Even if you're blue collar workers, white collar, it doesn't matter what you do. Even if you're like a waitress or waiter at a bar, I can promise you, by going to nicer establishments, you will start understanding that people treat you differently. People will treat you differently when they start knowing that you're going to these establishments, especially if you're a waitress or a waiter at a cafe or at a restaurant or a bar. You'll start having people that don't necessarily go to the pub and waste their savings on a weekend. Instead, what you will have is potentially people that go to this establishment and they'll see you serving and they'll be like, oh my God, I saw you at blah 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 the other day, or that 5-star establishment, what are you doing working here? And they'll be surprised that you work in. You'll be like, I like to go there with and you can give some garbage reason that'll make them smile, but they'll treat you differently. People treat you differently when they start seeing that you look after yourself. And I can promise you that through law of attraction, you'll end up being able to become the person that you said in 20 years time. You want that dream property, you want that $1.2 million property. You'll start becoming the person who is worthy of that $1.2 million property. I remember I've been at the bar, at the bar when I was working. I worked at a 5-star Michelin star restaurant. It was beautiful, and I remember working there once, and someone said, "What are you doing here?" And I said, just trying to save up and trying to, whatever I was saving up for. Years ago now. Maybe I was saving up for a new car. And they were like, dude, I knew this business guy, and he was like, you hold yourself really well. Like, you're so well spoken, you're so polite. I was only a young lad at the time, like I said, I'm 25 this year. So I must have been like 18, 19. And maybe not even that, because I was before I was a trader. So it was while I was learning. So I must have been, maybe I was like 16, 17. And I remember him saying to me, he's like, dude, like if you ever looking for a job, give me a shout. I was like, what do you do? I can't remember. I think you may have been a salesman, maybe. And he was like, oh, we're in sales, we do this, that, and the other. But anyway, I got offered an opportunity. I got offered a job. I had a bigger dream, trading. I had a big aspiration. I had my own things that I wanted to do. Nonetheless, I got given a better opportunity because how I hold myself and who I am as a person. So it's all about becoming the person who will deserve that $1.2 million property, not necessarily about being the person who you want to be right now. Because and I see this a lot with youngsters. People say that I'm like 40 years old. They say I'm an old soul. They're like, well, you stop being an old man, go out and enjoy yourself. Dude, let me tell you one thing now. I enjoy myself. These people don't see me often. Like, it's okay, every now and then, I went out for a cigar and a couple of beers down my local village with my brother when I first arrived back in the UK Monday, in fact, a week ago today. So that was great fun. But these guys don't see me anymore, and they think that I don't have fun. And they think that I potentially, don't go out clubbing, or I don't go out and enjoy myself anymore. Oh, I do. I'm just enjoying myself in spaces these people don't go. Not that they can't afford. The prices aren't that different. Just places that the vibe isn't what they are, And who I now meet when I go out at these on these nights out are unbelievable. Like, some of them are complete degenerates, of course. But most of the people are people like myself and you guys who have sat here for the last 41 minutes listening to me drone on. They're people like us who want better and know that we deserve better and are trying to become better versions of ourselves. And they're people like us. And the conversation is different. The atmosphere is different. The aura is different. And you get that respect that you deserve. And it all starts with who you want to be, looking at yourself in the mirror every day. When you come home from work and you're tired and you're absolutely drained, you got no money, and you're thinking, where's my money going? Where's all these bills coming from? Why can't even afford a nice apartment? I'm in this 1-bedroom still, or maybe I'm in this studio apartment even. You look at yourself in the mirror and you say, I deserve more. Instead of, oh, you're useless, you're rubbish, you need a better job, you need this, you need that. Don't say what you need. Don't say what you should have. Don't say what you need. Say what you are. And that's not bad, and don't be a negative person about it. Look at yourself and say, you're trying your hardest here and you're doing an epic job of it. I'm super proud of me. You look at yourself and say, I'm super proud of you. Tomorrow we're going to wake up and we're going to do it all again because we can and we have the ability to. And we've been, we're blessed with the ability to wake up tomorrow. So what we're going to do is we're going to wake up tomorrow, and on the weekend or on our next day off, we're going to put some nice clothes on. We're going to go to a nice 5-star cafe or a nice 5-star establishment. We're just going to have a coffee. We're going to sit there and we're going to absorb that atmosphere, because what you're able to do then is, once you absorb in that atmosphere, there's so many ways to make money online. And yes, I can shameless plug. I can say, guys, go ahead and join the Discord, link in description below. Yeah, I can say all that, but you know that. I don't need to sell you guys. I don't need to sell it to you guys. You know what I do. You know that you can join the Brotherhood. And you know that, even though I'm a trader, I'm an entrepreneur. You can DM me and say, Will, I've got an amazing idea. I really want to start this idea. How, you come to me with a business proposal on an online business. I'll listen to you. Because that's my dream. One of my dreams is to create possibilities for everybody, create opportunities, create chances for people who genuinely deserve and want to become better versions of themselves, to actually make a start and potentially earn some money online, and leave the rat race, should we call it? Leave the matrix, as a certain person would say. So yeah, 100%. There's opportunities everywhere. There's opportunities all over, wherever you look. And again, I'm going to leave you on this one real quick. I studied psychology back in school, and this lady in the podcast yesterday spoke about it as well. There's a certain part of your brain, and her husband bought a truck, and never seen this truck in her entire life. Didn't, like, a baby blue truck. And she's never seen one of these. Next minute, she saw them everywhere. Maybe not baby blue, but she saw this truck everywhere. And it's a certain part, and she called it the bouncer in your brain. And again, I'll try and reference it below maybe. And what this was the bouncer in your brain is the certain part of your brain that lets information in and stops information from leaving. Or maybe potentially stops information from coming in as well. So what this was, and she said she would give people a task to do for the day, and it would be, I want you to go out and try and find a heart shape. There we go, a heart shape in the world. And now she said she sees heart shapes everywhere. So, I'm gonna piggyback on her idea. I'm gonna say, guys, I want you to go out and try and find as many natural heart shapes as possible throughout your day. Just go out and look for it. Go out and look for something in nature. It doesn't matter whether it's a leaf, whether it's a cloud, whether it's I don't know. I'm trying to look for what I can find an example of. It doesn't matter whether it's in anything, in a logo, in whatever. Try and make it natural, but try and find something that is shaped as a heart. And I don't want you to go out and look at an emoji and say, there's a heart emoji here. No, I want you to find something in nature. Find something that's potentially difficult to find. And I want you to try and see it throughout the day. And that's my challenge to you. Come back to this stream. It won't be a stream at the time. It'll just be a video on the live section. Come back to this video, and I want you to tell me how many heart-shaped objects that you found in nature. And the reason I'm telling you to do this is because what you're able to do is see what you would never have seen before if you weren't looking for it. And this is what it comes to positive affirmations and manifestation. Back when we were speaking about it about half hour ago, it's the ability to see something that you'd never have seen before had you not been opened up to it. Mustangs, as an example. My brother bought himself a 5-litre V8 Mustang in yellow. Hadn't seen many Mustangs before. I thought, I've not seen many Mustangs around, certainly in my local area. And next minute, he bought it. I saw every man and his dog had a Mustang. Honest to God. Even a friend of mine who's a vet, he had a Mustang. I was like, dude, why have I never known that you had a Mustang? He was like, bro, I've had a Mustang for, I don't know, like 5-10 years. And he had a limited edition Bullet Mustang. And I said, why haven't I? And I've known this guy ever since I bought my dog. And I said, I probably bought him the Mustang. I said to him, I was like, why have I never known you to have a Mustang? He was like, I don't know. I've always had a Mustang. I drive it around every Sunday. And it was because my brother had bought a Mustang. It had opened that part of my brain that said Mustangs exist. And it goes back to understanding what you see in the world. And if you're looking at yourself and you're like, everyone hates me, I'm worth nothing, I'm negative, I don't deserve nice things. That's what you're projecting in the world, and that's what you're seeing. You're seeing people disrespect you. You're seeing people treat you the way that you expect to be treated, which is in a negative. You shift that to who you deserve to be, and I deserve to be happy. I deserve to be treated with respect. I deserve to hold myself in a way that people admire, and you start holding yourself differently, and potentially those people who would look at you and go, and maybe disrespect you or judge you, those people are actually starting to look at you and go, wow, actually, he's holding himself a bit different. He's projecting a bit a different aura, a different vibe, a different atmosphere around him now. We're not gonna judge him so much now. And it's a savage world out there. And I'm not saying it's fair, but that's the game. And we're here to win the game. We're here to be the best version of ourselves. So we're not gonna go out there and allow people to judge us. They're going to judge us anyway, but we're not going to allow them to have that negative sort of judgment on us. We're going to try and make sure it's as positive as possible. So what's going to happen is, we're going to go out there and project positivity. We're going to know that we deserve that positive atmosphere. We deserve for people to treat us with respect. And what actually you're doing then is you'll see people treating you with respect. It opens that part of your brain which sees, instead of the people who don't respect you, you'll still see those because they're arseholes and everyone's got one. So, and I don't mind swearing. I'm not trying to monetize this stream. You'll see those people respecting you, and you're like, wow, I didn't see it. I didn't see these people being nice to me before. I didn't see these people respecting me, but now I am. I'm like, wow, people are actually nice to me. I actually deserve this. And so through subconscious, you're able to understand that people do respect you. And then also through seeing that, you're able to hold yourself different, project yourself different. And so I will catch up with you guys in chat, I promise. You're able to hold yourself different. You're able to project a better vibe into the world. And then those people who are treating you nice are going to treat you nice anyway. Those people who maybe don't treat you nice, two things are going to happen. Some of them, they're still going to be arseholes to you. Others, however, are going to see that you're projecting a different vibe and you're projecting a different atmosphere out. And they're not going to judge you as quick. And they're going to go, actually, I've misjudged this guy. Actually, he's a nice guy. He's a positive guy. He's got an awesome atmosphere about him. And then those other people are going to say, oh, why are you dressing like that? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? But what you're able to do then is you're able to look at them and go, you know what? You don't speak to me like that. I was like, you have a bit more respect for me, or you're not involved in my aura anymore. You're not in my atmosphere. You're not going to be in my stratosphere of acknowledgement, So two things are going to happen. You're going to sort the way you fucking speak to me, or you're going to hit the road. You start speaking to me with the respect I know I deserve now, or you're no longer going to be in my space, in my atmosphere. So that's what's going to happen with those sorts of people. Or you go over to the people who maybe judged you, but now they're not judging you so much, and you're like, look, guys, I this is who I am now. You take me for who I am. Take it or leave it. I'm not changing. I'm not going to go out and get smashed at the pub every single weekend. Maybe once a month. Easy, take it easy. Wean yourself off if you have to. But I'm not going to go out and get smashed every weekend. I'm trying to become a better version of myself. Start inviting your friends to do it as well. It's easy to do it as a community. Very difficult to do it alone. I did it alone. Luckily, I have my brother. Me and my brother are best mates, hence why we opened up Apex Brotherhood, because we are the apex of brothers. We are the T-Rex of brothers. Anyway, digression. It's very difficult to do it alone because you're going to relapse. You're going to feel like you're gonna feel like you're suffering a little bit, or maybe potentially addictions as well. You're gonna feel like your addictions are a little bit creeping in, and you're not quite who you thought you could be. You're gonna get imposter syndrome really, really badly. But and having a community out there it's really going to affect you positively. It's gonna cause you to upward spiral. And again, that's why we have the Apex Brotherhood. Link in the description below. Join it. Shameless plug. That's why we have the Brotherhood, is to actually promote and make sure you stay on course to being a better version of yourself. Yes, like I said, most of us are all traders in there. Not all of us. Like I said, my brother's an online PT. He helps people become a fitter, healthier version of themselves. So, whereas, it also correlates fantastically with trading, because, if you're not going to be the best version of yourself outside of the charts, how are you going to be the best version of yourselves in the charts? But anyway, guys, I've droned on for about 53 minutes now. So let's have a bit of a catch up with chat. And then, we'll finish off with a couple of quotes that the guys enjoy posting on the daily in the Discord. Bear with, let me just bring the daily quotes up so I have it ready, because we don't like to, prior preparation prevents piss poor performance, as they say. Let's have a look. CC Cat Lady, good morning. I love you. I love you too. Personal Trader Crypto, William. What is good, Personal Trader Crypto? Hello there. How are you doing? Good to see you guys. It's awesome to see you guys. There's 9 of you watching live right now, which I'm actually really, really surprised about. I didn't think there'd be this many of you especially on the first session. We're going to be doing this every Monday at 7 a.m. So I'm really surprised that we've got so many of you guys in already. Azrael Trades, hey mate, what is good, Azrael? How you doing, brother? What's good, my man? MGN Thalantier, greetings. Hello, my man. What's good, MGN? I'll go to a 5-star hotel if it's sponsored by Will. Otherwise, give me a tent and a weekend camping instead at a music festival. Bro, yeah, 100%. Dude, 100%. Look, you got to find what works for you at the end of the day, but it depends who you're trying to be. If the person who you're trying to be isn't the sort of person that chucks, a nice pair of shoes on and a suit, then don't go to a 5-star establishment. Why would you do that? But if the sort of person you want to be is someone a little bit more chill, around a campfire sort of thing, then yeah, 100%. But make sure you're doing it with the right people. That's the biggest thing I will say. Make sure you're doing the right people, because it's the conversation that matters. It's not necessarily the conversation, or it's not necessarily the vibe and the atmosphere and the environment. More so, it's the conversation, the people you're around and you surround yourself with. And that's usually why I say it's the environment. Because if you're able to find these great people with fantastic environments, in fantastic atmospheres, then yeah, the environment doesn't matter too much. So yeah, MGN, I rate that, bro. Pooley, morning all, morning Pooley. How you doing, bro? Yo, Void, how you doing? Akram, good to see you in, brother. Thanks for joining, man. That's epic. How many Mustangs do you have, Will? I don't. I've got an M4. I don't. I'm more into my German engineering. I'm not so much a fan of the American muscle cars. I do rate them. I nearly bought myself a Mustang. I will be honest, but only one. And yeah. What color is your Mustang? Shall I see if I can find a photo of it for you? Just before we head out, we got a little bit of time before I want to be out by 8, because the boys are coming in. They're going to be streaming at 8 a.m. So let's see if I can find a picture of my brother's Mustang. There's a reason I'm not telling you the color. Oh, where is it? There it is. There we go. I don't know if you guys are going to see that okay. It is a bright yellow Mustang with 2 stripes up the middle. It is Bumblebee. Yeah. I'll tell you what, I'll drop it. I'll drop it in the Discord. For those of you who are in the Discord, you'll see it. How can I buy one of your Mustangs from my progress from your learnings? I can eventually buy your brother's Mustang. I like yellow. Dude, 100%. You know, I'm sure if you offered my brother enough money, he'd sell it to you. Uh, but yeah, man. Yeah, dude. Yeah, you can. I do like the Mustang. It is a very nice car, to be fair. But yeah, maybe you can buy my brother's Mustang off him. Get yourself a Camaro, name it Bumblebee. Akram, I'll tell you what, mate. We go to what's called Cars and Coffee last Sunday of every month, and there is a yellow Camaro. And do you know the Transformer, the Bumblebee's logo? They've pulled off the Camaro badge and put on a Transformers Bumblebee badge. And the number plate is Bumblebee. It's quite cool, to be fair. I'll invite LJ. No promises though. LJ would he would create carnage. Oh, what was a camera? I want a car. Yeah, a Camaro, Chevrolet Camaro. Very nice cars. Very 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 nice cars. All left-hand drive though. Whereas the Mustang, I'm based in the UK, so the Mustang you can get in a right-hand drive. Camaro, I think the crypto market margin called for the grammars. Pooley, I have been a member for a while, and I can honestly say the community has transformed my trading. Dude, this is epic. Pooley, I really appreciate this, man. Yeah, Pooley, you know he's one of the very highly valued members in the community. Big shout out to Pooley. He loves to come on and troll every now and then. We have great banter, you know, and that's the luxury. You know, it's not one of those communities where you join and you're forgotten. You know, you join the community and you become a genuine, you know, brother in the community. You know, you genuinely become family. We remember you. Even like guys who I remember from back in the days when I was streaming a couple of years ago on my trading accounts. You know, I still remember you guys because it's about creating that sort of community environment where you all feel respected, and that's 100%. So Pooley, I appreciate it, bro. Pooley, okay, I like what you say. If you have already got a Mustang, I'm in. Pooley, have you got a Mustang? I dread that. Pooley, I swear, Pooley probably would have a Mustang. Yeah. I'm good, brother. I hope we all have a good week. Yeah, 100%, Azrael. Big shout out to all of you guys. Get you know, going forward now, I wish you all the best week going forward. Sounds great. I want a Mustang. 100%, man. Dude, that'd be sick. You know, get yourself in the Discord. Let's get that Mustang. Anyway, guys. Yeah, seeing all of your comments now. Good, my damn keyboard's cooked. Dude, guys, I just want to say as well, you know, there's 9 of you watching live right now, so a big shout out to you guys. Thank you very much for joining. The Boardroom Broadcast is 8 a.m. now. I've been droning on for an hour, so I'm gonna love you and leave you. Guys, head over, stay on the channel, head over to the guys. They're gonna be live streaming their trading. I'll try and pop in with them in about half an hour's time, just spend like 5-10 minutes with them. But I know Evan is working on an EA at the moment. He's working on a bot. So, you know, get yourself over to his stream. It's on the same channel. You know, once you leave here, get yourself over and then make sure you join him live on stream, because you know, he's going to be talking about his EA. He's going to be talking about what he's doing with his bot at the moment, and he has earned some fantastic money over the weekend. So guys, I'm going to leave you on this one, and it's going to be from Scott. Character is like a tree, and reputation is like a shadow. The shadow is what we think of it, and the tree is the real thing. And that is from Abraham Lincoln. So, guys, that is the quote of the day today from Scott, and that's from Daily Quotes in the Discord. So, guys, like I said, if you do want to join, this ain't a plug. This ain't me trying to sell you guys. This is genuinely just trying to start the week off right with you guys. So, guys, if you do want to, you don't have to. I'm not forcing you. Link is in the description below to join up. But for now, guys, thank you very much for joining. Have a fantastic week ahead. I wish you all the best positivity and best profits and the best outcome for your week. But for now, see you all next week. Thank you very much, guys. Take care.